Hello and welcome. I'm Blind Stranger, and this is my Show Up and Tell. Today, I want to continue the topic I started in the last episode. Uh, I was talking about adaptations of Western classics in the form of movies, live action series, animation in Japan and Soviet Union, and the lack of such adaptations in post-Soviet Russia. Um, if you are interested in that topic, I would recommend you to watch that episode. And today I want to go specifically on how it came to be that a Russian movie industry lacks any adaptations currently, and it has been lacking it for nearly 30 years now. And why Soviet Union, on contrary, had a lot of them. The thing is, as I said, there was a great interest in Soviet Union to see some different lives, some another realities that lived by different laws, different had different order, and Western world looked to Soviet people mostly like Wonderland. It even was can't remember who wrote that. It could one of the authors said that for Soviet people, Western world was like afterworld, afterlife. I mean, you've heard something about it. There are all kinds of stories about it, but nobody who went there ever came back. Uh, it was generally true for pretty much all the emigration, both uh, right after the uh, Bolsheviks took power in Russia, after a civil war, and there were two more waves of emigration, and pretty much nobody came back except no, well, few exceptions that were uh, weren't very well known to people, and weren't very uh, uh, I would say exemplary, and that interest uh, started in more educated classes of Soviet society, that so-called intelligentsia, and later, during that period when perestroika allowed foreign movies, when home video came first to Soviet Union. It wasn't much of a home video back then, but it was underground, private home kind video quality screenings. Uh, that interested transferred to lower classes, to less educated people, and finalized with that hysteric reaction to America and generally everything West. As I said, somewhere around uh, 94, I would say, maybe even 93, the latest 95. That craze stopped, and there was a different trend. Russians wanted to see themselves in the movies. They wanted to see their own country, their own history, their own heroes. Uh, it's very uh, uh, I would say what shows that trend is there were a trilogy um, to love as Russian in mid 90s, and it was topping the charts in Russia in cinemas, and it was very popular. It was screened on mainstream federal TV, and it showed that demand for new Russian identity, I would say, or finding some old pre-Bolshevik identity that could be restored. Some hoped, um, and here we are now, and Russia is pretty much culturally very isolated island. I would say there are lots of people who know pretty much nothing about the world around Russia, and not there is little to know. I would say cultural integration, but to say that it tells the whole story would be overly generalizing it. I mean, during Soviet years, that cultural class, that Soviet elite, those actors, movie directors, composers, poets, they wanted something that was there, uh, something that was different from Soviet mainstream narrative, and they had no option to escape somewhere and do something that oh, wouldn't wouldn't be in in, uh, in a reality of what was possible in Soviet Union. I mean, they couldn't go abroad and make some movie about West in the West. They had to make those adaptations in Soviet Union. And since the borders became open, since the international travel began pretty much on demand for more elite cultured, more earning more, having more money class. It wasn't a problem to go to, I don't know, America, France, Italy, whatever, and a lot of that, a lot of interest switched to original Western culture. It doesn't have to be. It didn't have to be those adaptations anymore. There was a choice for original, for uh, some modern movies, some modern culture, some I would say uh, some West as it was, and not as it was fantasized about. And uh, that less educated, less financially lucky, I would say, part of the population, which of course was a bigger part of the population, uh, wasn't uh, wasn't against that at first too. I mean, there were um, still those pirated movies, and Russia is a center of piracy, one of the centers globally of piracy. There always were some unlicensed dubbing translation of original Western movies without those production companies ever knowing about that. And at first, it was part of the popular culture in Russia as well, and uh, uh, there were I don't know. It, I mean, like superheroes like Batman, or movie heroes from, I would say, Titanic, or Terminator became part of common modern folklore. There were jokes about them. There were parodies. There were, um, I would say, uh, mixing mixings with traditional Russian themes of jokes, like for example, political leaders, or some uh, local specific ethnic jokes, and it was okay. But as the time moved on, there was a wider and wider division between lower demanding population, population with lower cultural demands, that didn't want to go that extra mile to get some original content. They didn't care to collect DVDs, for example, or I don't know, Blu-rays, of course. Uh, they wouldn't care for using and learning how to use torrents to get some movies they were potentially interested for free. They just turned on TV. At best, it was some cable TV, some satellite TV that had uh, probably some either very old movies from the West in their programming, or some B-rated movies, some less competitive stuff, I would say, and that was okay. And at worst, it was just federal TV that stopped showing pretty much anything worthy, anything good past, I would say, year 2000, and gradually that situation moved to the point where tens of millions of people in Russia only live in um, artificially constructed cultural reservation, I would say. They only use what's the easiest to get, the lowest hanging fruit. I mean, that's still that TV, those Russian biggest portals like VK or OK. Uh, they just consume what floats towards them, and uh, it came pretty much only from Ministry of Culture, or from sources that were approved by a Russian Ministry of Culture, and in accordance to political course, it's pretty much all Russia, everything about Russian past, Russian uh, current life events, or some heroes that were imagined that should have been promoted. That's soft propaganda, I would say. And there is no place for adaptations anymore. But again, on the other end of the spectrum, there is another highly educated, highly enthusiastic group of people. Of course, it's smaller group that knows languages, at least at my level, and that can consume current content from streaming without any need in translation, and that was another group that had no requirement for adaptations, because they were consuming all the original content they wanted pretty much at the same time as Westerners do, and or did, yeah. For example, as I mentioned, I watch a lot of Western animation for adults, like South Park, Family Guy. Yeah, I know those two together, and Bob's Burgers, Rick and Morty, etc., etc., etc. And generally, I get that content. Uh, the next day, it was streamed on the West, and I get it in original form with uh, English subtitles at best, and it's okay. I don't require anything else, to be honest. I mean, who would want to watch Bob's Burgers in translation? That show has pretty much half of the jokes on wordplay. So yeah, and that is why moving from there, from where that more demanding, I would say, part of the population in Russia is to some adaptations would be really steps somewhere down on cultural level. I mean, yeah, you may be talented, you may be working very hard, but original is original. You can't compete with that. And Another part of the population that consumes only Russian produced Russian speaking content, it would probably benefit from adaptations, I would say, even as I would say non-canonical as for example Soviet adaptations of um, Finnish book borrowing matchsticks, or I don't know, as naive and low budget as Soviet adaptation of Three Men in a Boat, uh, despite really good actors taking part in that adaptation, and that people could benefit. But again, the whole situation is those who could have benefited from having access to that don't have a medium that could provide that to them, and those who are integrated into Western culture don't require adaptation. So there are none, but for two completely different reasons. And um, what I can add to that is saying that Russia is that or Russia is this nowadays just drives me crazy, as it is such a non-realistic generalization. I mean, who is that Russia you are talking about? Is it in the same room as you? I mean, there are such polar opposites in Russia, and saying that it's the same entity even is not even simplification over simplification for the sake of uh, or formulating your message for everybody. No, it's just creating some imaginary non-existent entity that doesn't exist in reality. It's creating something to prove your point, which by me is a definition of propaganda by itself. So that is the story I wanted to tell about adaptations, why Russia currently lacks any, and why there is more than one reason for that. I tried to be uh, uh, as oh well. I tried. Let's leave it at that. Bye.